So, because, okay, record. All right. Okay, so I'm Joshua Spodek, and you are?
Sheldon Sumpter.
Okay, and today we're going to talk about the story of how you sold an apple for $5, and that got you a job offer.
Yes.
This is not the way most people, you didn't expect any of this to happen, right?
No.
Okay, so let's see. First I'm going to say a little bit about, we are in, if you can see by this purple, we are in an NYU dorm. I'm a professor, and you're a student, and I don't think you're on, but you're part of the special interest housing for entrepreneurship.
Correct.
That's how we met.
Yes.
And so I'm the faculty advisor for the dorm here. And a little while ago, I gave an assignment. We were talking about what exercises, about entrepreneurship. And I talked about selling an apple for $5. And I'm sorry, I talked about selling an apple as an exercise. And no one else did it except you did. And you did it really, really well. And I just wanted to, I told the story to a friend who was like, I'm going to offer this guy a job. I want you to tell the story. Can you tell the story about how, well, first, how did you happen to be into entrepreneurship? How did you happen to be involved with this floor?
Okay, so actually I ended up on this floor totally by chance. However, I am familiar with entrepreneurship. Before coming here to NYU, I actually owned a small business, and I looked to own well, not a small business, but to actually run a business in the future as well. So it just so happened that I ended up on Courtney's, my RA's floor, and I found out it was an entrepreneurial floor, and it was just great, and everything worked out. That's how I met you.
So that's totally lucky.
Yes, it was extremely lucky. So
I'm kind of curious, as a professor teaching entrepreneurship, it seems like NYU is a very entrepreneurial place.
Extremely.
Oh, so it is. Okay, for the undergrads as well.
Yes.
Okay, how so?
So they have a lot of tech meetups and things. We have like entrepreneurial institutions that actually help students start up, and we actually have a few companies that are very known as well, also that have basically came out of NYU. Why students have been students here at NYU as well.
Okay, because when I went to college, like entrepreneurship wasn't exactly like a subject of study. It was kind of like it wasn't seen as particularly academic. Did you see contrast between, is it like the entrepreneurship, does it conflict with the academics, or does it augment them or complement them?
I think it's pretty much the way that our economy is actually headed. And of course, we all know that Stanford pretty much led the way. So I think NYU is trying to take advantage of this position here in New York to also do the same thing, but on the East Coast. And the resources that we have available to us is a little bit different. So it's a very nice area to be in and to be concerned or interested in entrepreneurship.
Okay, sorry to get off topic. I'm just kind of curious. So, okay, so at the beginning of the semester, I asked students what kind of stuff they would be interested in for programming for the floor. And lots of people talked about different things. And then I also gave an exercise, an idea of people could work on. The exercise, as I gave it to you, was in a week to get a hold of an apple, sell the apple for the maximum profit you could. And if that was negative profit, if you sold it at a loss or just gave it away, that would be okay. And then a week later, you came in and told the story about how you sold this apple. And it was like, it wasn't just, I got an apple and sold it. It's like you planned. Take it away. What happened?
So as soon as you gave us the assignment, of course, like you said, it was optional. Automatically had all of these thoughts to come through my head. So it was cool because I was thinking like, okay, what are all the different things that I could possibly do to raise the value of this apple to sell it? It's something that most people are capable of doing, but never really think about. It allows you to all of a sudden be creative. It's like there are no rules whatsoever. So it's like a personal challenge. So I just so happened to recently find out about an apple that all of a sudden became my favorite apple shortly before you gave us this assignment.
Like a strain of apples?
Well, yes, a Fuji apple, yes. And so it'll come out in the story of how I basically found out about Fuji apples. So one day at work there, and a colleague...
Work where?
So I work at, I am an intern at NYU in the Treasury Department.
Okay, so at your job.
Yes.
Okay.
I just go there every day after class during the weekday. So one of my coworkers, she had an apple, and she asked me if I wanted it because I was hungry, and I said sure. And it just happened to be a Fuji apple, and just thinking normal regular apple. And I tasted the apple, and it was really, really good. And then all of a sudden, I started getting the apples every week from Trader Joe's. So that was the apple that I was selling. I already knew that. Okay, because you can sell something if you really believe in it.
Yeah, you had a bit of knowledge about this particular product.
Yes, and I believed in it. So I went.
That was before I gave you the assignment?
Before you gave me the assignment. So
you're like, apple.
Yes, Fuji apple. I'm going to sell a Fuji apple, no questions asked. So one of my apples I already had from Trader Joe's, I waited because it was snow in the forecast, and I did a lot of thinking. What would be the best way to sell this apple at work to one of my coworkers? So there were all the different things that I could think, how can I continue to add value to this apple? Not only do I want to add value to this apple, I don't want to give all the information at once because that would take away some of the value. Kind of reminds me of Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow.
Bringing in the big guns of like Nobel Prize winners.
Yes, because I love that book, so I'm thinking along those lines. So it was a snowy day at work.
This is like January, February?
Yes, January, February, somewhere over there. So I approached a coworker, and I simply asked her, how much would you pay for an apple?
And this is what, in the morning? Or this is after school?
This is about 2 p.m.
Okay.
Yes, I have to give you the times.
So I know the story, so I know that the timing is important.
Yes, the times are very important. Thanks for reminding me. So it's about 2 p.m. and I asked her if I had an apple, and I would say, apple, how much do you pay for the apple? And she said, $1. I said, okay. And typically I speak with this person all the time, so it's not unusual for me just to have these like random conversations with them.
You know your customer.
Yes.
You have a good channel of,
So then I said, okay, now this is fun to me. I don't care how much I sell the apple for. I want to sell it for as much as possible, but this is fun. So then I said, after she tells me that she will pay $1 for the apple, I said, well, what about if it was an organic apple? And she said, $1.25. I said, okay. Just went ahead about my business, went back to my desk.
Wait, how much did you buy the apple for at first?
I paid 79 cents for the apple.
Okay, yes. So you know already that you're profitable.
Yes.
Not counting your labor, but yeah.
Yes. So now at this point we have to try to add value to that that $1.25. Okay, fine. So I want her to just think about this, and I don't want to sell the apple right now because she just had lunch not too long ago. So I want her to be hungry. So I come back at about 3 o'clock, and I tell her the story about the apple. I just discovered this apple recently. This Fuji apple is great. I don't even eat apples that much, but recently I've been buying these apples every week. I love eating them in the morning. Like, they're great. They're wonderful. They make an excellent snack. She should definitely try one day.
And she doesn't know you have the apple?
No, because I do things like this all the time. So I leave. Come back about 3:30, and then I give her a little bit of history about the apple. I tell her how it was developed in Japan, how it is a cross between Red Delicious and Virginia.
Did you look this up just for this?
I did.
Because you knew you were going to sell the apple. You knew that the story would contribute value.
Yes, that was the whole point. This was the 1960s, and then, of course, it's named after this majestic mountain in Japan, Fuji Mountain. So yes, add that onto it as well. Also add into it that it's actually the sweetest apple. It's like a little barometer that I actually found online, and it had the rankings of apples, the sweetness of the apples, and it's the sweetest apple, which is probably why I like it. It has a bit of a sweet tooth. So,
and she's just listening to you tell the story, like, oh, he's entertaining me.
Yes. In a sense, I'm doing what a commercial does.
Yeah, marketing.
I'm showing you the Big Mac or the ice cold Coca-Cola or Pepsi, etc. That's essential on a summer day. That's essentially what I'm doing. So then I leave.
Oh, so you're trying to get her mouth to water.
I am. So about 4 p.m. I come back. Now, mind you, she gets to leave work at 5, but she does have a commute. to go back to Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's snowing outside, it's cold, it's windy. So
Is this one of these big snowfalls that we had this winter?
It was.
A major snowfall?
It was.
Okay.
Which was, now that was done on purpose. I wanted
you made it snow on purpose?
I didn't make it snow, but I waited until it was a day where there was a heavy snowfall on purpose.
Uh-huh.
And that's for this last part, to add value.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So,
yeah, I know the last part is devious.
Yeah. So
it's devious except for how. Okay, yeah, it's not devious. It's okay.
So I come over to her. Now, mind you, I'm steady trying to add value.
Uh-huh.
So I asked her. I said I could ask you to go buy me an apple, but then your supervisor wouldn't be happy because she doesn't have. I'm an intern. She's a regular employee, so she doesn't have as much flexibility as I do.
Uh-huh.
And so then I asked her, how much would she charge me? Because I don't feel like going outside in the cold. How much would she charge me to actually go to Trader Joe's to buy me an apple?
If you want to, how much would you have to pay her for her to get you an apple?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Mind you, Trader Joe's is about it is 3 blocks away.
Uh-huh.
And our local Trader Joe's is known for having extremely long lines.
Uh-huh.
So she would have to go out in the cold. She would have to put on a lot of layers of clothes, and I mentioned all this to her.
Uh-huh.
She would have to stand in line
uh-huh.
just to get an apple. So
you're contrasting, like, somewhere in her head there's like this apple that's a mouth-wateringly delicious apple.
Yes.
Somewhere else in her head is like the drudgery of going out in the cold.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And so how much would you charge me to go and buy me an apple, and I'll buy you one as well?
Uh-huh.
And so she told me that.
Wait, how much would you have to pay her to go get you an apple?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So she told me $10.
$10. Uh-huh.
$10. And so then I asked, okay, well, how much would you pay me to do the same thing?
Uh-huh.
And she said that she would pay me $7. And so then I give her a hard time. Whoa, what do you mean? How are you gonna? It's a huge difference right here. It's $3. You know. 10 and 7. Why am I only getting paid 7?
Uh-huh.
And then she was just like, she gave me some lame excuse or whatever
uh-huh.
about she has to leave her desk, etc. So it was like, okay, fine. So then I went back to my desk and I got the Fuji apple that I already had, of course.
Uh-huh.
And I told her to give me $5 and she can have it. And then
uh-huh.
so she willingly gave me the $5.
And she got the apple.
She got the apple. And she got the apple for less than what she was willing to pay for it. So I gave her a deal.
That's why, to me, it's devious in that you got the price up really high, but it's not devious in that, in her mind, she got a $2 discount.
Yes.
And in her mind is what counts, right? That's what, at the beginning you said you were raising value. The value is in her perception,
yes.
right? It's not, there's no absolute value of an apple.
Yeah, no.
If she thinks it's worth $7 and she pays $5 for it, in her mind she's happy.
Yes. Because she got the apple for less than what she was willing to give up for it, yes.
So in this process, you didn't know where you were going to end up. You didn't know 5, 7, 10, whatever. You were just like having fun.
I was just having fun, and I just wanted to continue to make progress in adding value. So even if that value was smaller increments, that would have been fine. Mm-hmm. The whole point to me was just how can I be creative to make this apple generate more wealth, essentially.
So now, I hope that people watching this are people who are like interested in starting businesses or going to places where selling, not just selling, but more generally motivating or influencing other people, or things like that are important. And I feel like that's what you were having fun doing, like it was a game for you.
Yeah, it was definitely a game. And the thing also that we talked about ahead of time, because I remember when you first gave us the assignment, the optional assignment, you were asking us things that we would want to consider or be concerned about. And so if I was doing this over and over again, I would have employed this, but it's also very important to notice everything you do wrong mm-hmm. in selling the apple or selling anything, because that is information. That is information that can be utilized for you to change whatever your process is, whatever you're doing, etc., mm-hmm. To basically make it more efficient, to make it more successful.
More effective.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, something that we didn't, because other people didn't do it. In my class, when I have them, the second part of the assignment, which I think you also did, was to create a presentation of
yes.
what you did.
Yes.
And when multiple people do it, then you can critique each other and give each other advice. and you can see, I did it this way, they did it that way, oh, I could have done it that way too. And then you can ask each other. And we didn't get to do that because the other people the other people in your peer group didn't also do it. But in class you get to do that. And I think salespeople and people who give presentations, that's a common thing. You can't really practice selling without actually selling.
Yes.
And only by seeing someone else actually selling can you really get the feel for it.
Yeah, and I mean, the $5 was actually nothing, because the other reason why I really wanted to do the assignment is because you're automatically getting something out of it.
Even if you don't get it.
Yeah, you can utilize this later on in anything. Even if you were to take a loss and you made absolutely nothing on the apple and you had to give it away, just the process of actually going out there and trying it triggers certain things in your mind to make you think differently, etc., or to make you wonder how exactly should I approach the situation.
Yeah, because I did the assignment too. I mean, it's my students, right? So I want to do it too, and I made 25 cents, and now you made $4.29, right? 21 cents.
No, $5. So four.
Yeah,
oh,
421.
Yeah.
So your gross margins were like really high.
Yes.
Mine were really low. So I definitely learned, although I had a lot of fun doing it. I gave myself the assignment of doing it. I wanted to do it to a total stranger, which gives you this hurdle of like getting over. I mean, you're selling something that's going to go into their body. That's like a little challenge, a bit of a challenge. That's my excuse. So did you have it in you before you, like, what did you draw on to do this? Was it like just pure, like, this is going to be fun from the start? I mean, a lot of people, it's hard to sell. A lot of people are like, it's scary. Like, a lot of people, if it's someone they know, they're like, I don't want to get money out of someone that I know. That's kind of a weird thing to do. And if it's someone they don't know, they're like, I don't want to start off the relationship with someone asking them for something. And yet a lot of people benefit from being able to sell. It could be selling a product, it could be selling a service, it could be selling an idea. I mean, a lot of people, they're in jobs that have nothing to do with entrepreneurship, but they have an idea for something, a project that they want to do at work. They want to propose it to their manager. They don't want to just say, like, here's an idea, take it or leave it. That's what they normally do. But they want the manager to say, okay, you're going to be the head of this project. That's something, I feel like that's something we can all learn from what you just did. How did you get, I mean, did you have that in you of like, I don't want to do this? Or was there nothing about that? How did you get over it if you had it? How did you not have it if you didn't?
I didn't really have the, I don't want to do this. I saw it as a challenge. I saw it as a game. I saw it as a way to actually have fun. So I didn't look at it as being something serious. And I was also willing and looking forward to failing as well, because like I told you, failing is information. It's just free information. It doesn't hurt anyone. And the important part, I also said that it could be utilized in many different ways in your life, because like you said, no matter where you are, no matter if you're in a cubicle the entire day, etc., you have to sell yourself at some point.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, and you also asked about how do I sell something to someone, I didn't want to come to her with their price and just make her pay for it.
You did not?
No. I wanted her to tell me how much it was worth.
Interesting.
And then I gave her a deal. So in a sense, I was just providing something to her that she already wanted.
How did you come up with the idea of I mean, the maximum you got was $10, of somehow the getting an apple from elsewhere into someone's mouth was priced at $10. So it was like the snow plus all, like, how did you have that idea? Were you looking for that?
So when you go to a theme park and they sell you a soda for like $5, you go to the movie theater, etc., they charge you these astronomical prices because of the access that you actually have to alternatives, especially on a hot summer day, etc. Maybe that theme park doesn't even have water fountains. So I knew, as far as the other options, that would add value.
So you were thinking that, when have I paid the most for something I wanted?
Yes.
You're putting yourself in the consumer's mind.
Yes, because that is certain things right now. If you haven't eaten today, let's just say there's a McDonald's right outside this building. It's not, by the way, but if it were,
because we're in New York, so there's lots of really good places.
Yeah. So if we were in some rural place and you had no groceries and you were extremely hungry, you haven't eaten all day, and there's a McDonald's right outside, you're willing to pay a higher price for that Big Mac, etc., than if you're in that same apartment or home, you're in the same exact location, and let's say you have your grandmother and she's cooking Sunday dinner, etc. No one can give you a Big Mac, perhaps. So value in anything or selling anything is just providing something for the customer when the customer wants it. So I had that in mind.
So you're like jacking up demand.
Yes.
And it was really like, I mean, one of the first things you talked about that I put here was raising value. And the value is, am I right? I mean, the way I look at it is value is something that it's based in someone's emotional response. It's something that is, as much as people like to, just putting a dollar value on something doesn't mean that it's objectively that value. A glass of water may cost nothing here, but in the middle of the Sahara Desert, if someone's dying, they'll pay everything they have for it.
Yes.
So what do you think, I mean, can you talk about value? Like, what does value mean to you?
Value to me is just essentially I won't say the importance, but the measure of yearning a person has for whatever object or thing that may be. And it doesn't even have to be an object or thing. It could be something emotional. So it's I don't want to say the priority, but I said the yearning or the desire that someone has in doing something or having something, essentially.
So it's something plastic. It's something that you can manipulate, something you can change.
Definitely, absolutely.
Because a lot of people is like I read people talking about Bitcoin, and they're like, it doesn't have value because blah blah blah. I'm like, if someone wants to pay for it, it has that value to that person of that amount. Exactly. If someone else does pay something different, that's their business. So for you, like value is like you see sales. Tell me if I'm wrong, but you see sales as like a fundamentally human thing, that like it's like you're connecting with someone.
Yes.
And you're having fun.
Yes, definitely having fun.
And all right, the next thing you talked about, or one of the things you talked about, was that it was a creative challenge. That makes it fun. You get something out of it. You keep talking about information that you get. I think of it as skills that you're developing. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So when I was saying that you gather information and skills from a failure or from this exercise, this assignment that you actually gave us, I see what I did is no different, and anyone who's watching this can participate and do the same exact thing. It's no different from some marketing mogul. It's no different from someone who has a Fortune 500 company who is providing a product for customers. It's simply thinking outside of the box and creating value, trying to sell something.
So anyone can pick up, anyone can just sell anything they want anytime, and like whether they succeed or not is secondary to, they get the experience, they learn something.
Yes. So,
all right, you talked to us about timing. I mean, you planned this. I mean, you both planned it out and you kind of freewheeled it. You went to work at 2.
Went to work at 2.
You knew she was leaving at 5.
Yes.
So you had to work out in 3 hours. You had to jack up the price really high, and you wanted it to be not too close to 5. Yes. You didn't mention it this time, but before you were talking about when she's going to be most hungry after lunch, but not yet about to eat.
Yes, because of course at 5 o'clock we have little corner stores right around the corner, so she can just simply go in there and pick up an apple or pick up a candy bar, etc. So I'm just hoping, at the same time she's just wanting to get out of the cold and get home. So I'm thinking about all of this. I'm taking in all this information, looking at it from a big picture view, trying to think what exact point of selling or trying to sell this apple exactly will have the highest value. Yes, but definitely not wanting to do it at 5 o'clock necessarily.
Yeah, now that when I sold my apple, I was selling it in a cafeteria,
yes.
And other apples from a reputable vendor. I mean, I'm reputable, but she doesn't know that.
Yes.
So I'm not reputable to her. Are like several steps away. I was killing myself. That's not a good way to sell.
Yeah, you should have went to the library next door.
Although I will tell you that one of the students I had in my class, he went to 2 stores in his neighborhood, and he found the same apples were selling for more at one store than the other. So he went to the cheaper store, bought the apples there, and was actually selling the cheaper apples in the more expensive store, in the store.
to regular customers.
Yeah, he was like stealing their customers in their space. And he was making a little bit, not very much money, but he was making money. It was like, you want this apple? This is the same thing, it's cheaper. I guess it's an arbitrage.
Arbitrage,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so you told this story, and sometime later, I'm talking to my friend, and my friend calls me up, and he's working at a bank, but he wants to start a company, and he and I have known each other for a long time, as you know now.
Yes.
And he says, I'm looking for an intern, and do you know anyone? And I say, well, I wasn't thinking of you yet, and I was just thinking of like, well, I got my students and so forth. I wasn't thinking undergrad because my students in class are graduate students, and so I'm trying to think of someone, and he's like, I want a hustler. And I was like, I like the term hustler. Hustler in entrepreneurship is like a very, very positive term. And I was like, oh, I know this guy. He sold an apple for $5. And my friend was like, what? And I told an abbreviated story, an abbreviated version of your story. And he was like, I want to talk to that guy. He was like, that's who I want to talk to. That's like done. So then I had to get in touch with Courtney, to get in touch with you, to put you guys in touch. And so how did that conversation go? He was, I think I emailed you both and put you guys both in touch. And he must have, you called him, what happened?
We spoke back and forth quickly over email, and then we set up a date, a meeting time to meet at a local Starbucks to get together and talk about his endeavors and what he was working on, etc., and talk about me, of course, as well, and to try to find a way to actually fit. And he basically explained to me about the hustler being very, very essential.
Oh, he said that too?
Yeah, to a startup,
okay.
yes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have never heard the word hustler used in such an endearing way. So he explained that to me, and go ahead.
I was just I know him from graduate school, so he and I got our PhDs in physics together. It's not like, you don't think of like Einstein and Galileo and Newton as being like hustlers. But now he and I are both like enjoying, like, we like hustlers, yeah?
No, he explained to me that he and some of his friends who were Harvard Business School students, were graduates rather, and I guess they're involved in entrepreneurial startups as well. Said there was three things that were very essential, three different people. And it was the hustler, it was the hacker, and the hipster. And it's very important to have these three people to have a successful startup. At least it makes it a lot easier. And so when he said that, I was actually flattered, but I never really thought about it in that manner. Yeah, so it was like, okay, yeah.
And so how come it didn't work out?
So we're actually still in contact, but he is moving extremely quickly, and so we're trying to find a way that I can actually help him out, but at the same time I have to finish. I have to graduate from school as well. I was able to get him in contact with a person though that can be very instrumental, to one another, both the two of them. So it definitely worked out. So
you did something. I want to recap this, like big picture. You did something that you didn't have to do, that a lot of people are fearful of doing, but you found a way to have fun with it. You shared the fun with others, and as the story spread, it came back to you in the form of a job offer.
Yes, I had no idea that I had no idea this was a job interview or me putting my resume out there, like sending a LinkedIn resume to someone. No, this was just me having fun. Josh said, selling apples. This seems pretty cool. I can't wait to do this. How can I don't want to say plot, but how can I add value to an apple? What is the best way to go about doing this? And just brainstorming on that a bit. Yes.
So yeah, I'm hoping that someone watching this is going to be like, I want that guy. I hope he's graduated by now. This is to me one of the most important things of entrepreneurship, and I think, people talk about having a minimum viable product and knowing your market really well, having a great technology, having a great team, and I think that the most important thing is having a passion for what you do, because if you have that passion, when you got to do something and it has to be done tonight, you got like 10 hours to do it, and it's going to take 15 hours worth of work. It's like, you're going to do it, but not because it's like a hassle. You're going to do it because you enjoy it.
Yes.
And you're not going to feel like you're working really hard. And then you're going to do it, and like you're going to do what other people can't. And what I'm reading is that you found a joy in something that a lot of people don't. But you're not different than anybody else.
No, absolutely not.
It's just you were able to find that. Like, that's the trick. To me, I mean, I don't want to put, like, there's a lot of things going on here, but I feel like that's like, the trick is like, there's nothing that you enjoyed that someone else can't enjoy in that too. And anyone else who finds the joy in it can achieve what you did and will get job offers out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.